What is going on, guys? It's your boy here again, Dean, and I'm going to be giving you guys my, grand showdown, basically what deck I played, why I played it, how I did, what my matches was, all that good stuff. There's going to be some timestamps in the description. The video will be a little bit longer than normal. Uh, so yeah, just, thank you guys for coming out and listening to it. There will also be the deck log in the description if you don't want to even, watch the video. You don't have to, you just see the deck and maybe try it out yourself. But maybe you want to stick around a little bit because there's some stuff I'll tell you guys about the deck. So first, the card by card. Uh, you know, Shout out to Ryan for making this deck. He is the one who definitely crafted it. Ended up choosing this one on a coin flip. It was between Kuon and this. I wasn't really happy with any of the decks this format. And so I was like, either I play my friend's deck or I play just stock Kuon, but I was still undecided. Ultimately, I don't really regret playing this, but it wasn't the best deck. So, yeah, ended up going with Control Abyss. You guys might have seen it on the feature match. Thank you, Bushiroad, for letting me go up there and actually show off the deck. And thankfully, that was one of the games the deck did provide, because there are hands that are good. If we look at this curve, there are definitely hands that can be very bad, and we saw a lot of those over the weekend. Yeah, anyway, enough of that. Let's go through the card by card. So we're on triple Bellringer Angel. Obviously, card's good. On death, draw a card. Best opener, triple soul conversion. It's not really a one drop. That's the important thing. We see this curve of 8 cards. It's actually more like 5. That's right, because the soul conversion does not do anything unless we also have a target. But if we have Bellringer plus soul conversion, then we've got a fantastic deck going. It's a 2-card combo, though, kind of like Amataz. We've got 2 Wings of Lust. We're going to be able to, 2 different modes. Give something rush if we really need to. It's a snipe that we take a damage for, but, sometimes that can be like a heal 2 if we kill Athena. And then we've also got draw drop. The idea is that we're going to be able to draw drop an Israfil. Why are we only playing 2? I don't know. Even at 3, this card is still not the best. We got triple Demonium. He's able to heal us. He's a good card. Definitely one of the better cards in Abyss. And definitely a nice control piece, giving us a ward. And then something that's, possibly give it Bane. Make it really awkward for opponent to trade into our board. Maybe protect a roll. Nice, something like that. 3 Surefire Bullets. Obviously, broken card. Able to kill Alice's. Able to kill Roll Knives in the mirror. All around some of the best removal in the game. The 4 comes up all the time. Triple Thundering Roar. This is removal or hand rip, which is like future removal. The problem with this is I don't think we build Necrocharge enough. And when we don't build Necrocharge, it's really awkward because we don't have a lot of super wide answers. So usually you're using this as removal in the early game. And then you don't have hand rip in the late game. That's kind of the way I felt about it. It was okay. I really wish that we could get the Necrocharge in this deck a little bit faster, so that way the card could be super good. Triple Marzensky. Once again, we're not getting the Necrocharge, so this is solely for the Evo to give -2/-2 in the slightly more aggressive matchups. The problem I was finding is in the aggressive matchups, those decks are also built to beat Cursecrafter, and Cursecrafter is 4+2+3. And so how do you counter that? Well, you do 3 cards with 3 health, split up, so this -2/-2 does not actually clear up the board. It just stems the bleeding a little bit, but then we still got a little bit of ways to go until turn 5 or 6, where we can maybe actually deal with our opponent's board, and sometimes it's a little too late. Yeah, and the Necrocharge 10, it took so long to get Necrocharge. This deck does not produce Grave. It's kind of one of my few problems about it. Triple Roll Knife. There we go. 3 mana, 3/3. We got the Floodgate effect. Our opponent's hand costs more. And then on Evolve, we're able to hit a random card out of their hand. I do like this card. It always hits something out of our opponent's hand. Definitely in those slower matchups, this is the best card ever, because our opponent's taking some time to set up. Boom, we hit a key piece out of their hand. And then hopefully we can just, snowball from there. Definitely one of the better cards. Once again, I wish, though, in the mid-game that we could have that Necrocharge 10. Triple Silent Purge. This one is also very good. We're able to kill anything on our opponent's board, and then they discard a random card. Remember I said that a lot of boards are built to beat, like, Cursecrafter. This is another card very good into, like, control, into, like, slower decks. like dragon or something, where we're able to kill like a Galmu, and then like our opponent loses a hand, and then suddenly like we don't care if they have like just guys on board, like maybe like the servant or something, like, because they probably don't have like much else going on. But against a lot of the decks that are killing us, kill a card is not very good, and so it's this. I still don't know how I feel about this card. I think this card is both fantastic and both not very good at the same time. It's a little whack. I do like it though. I both do and don't. I don't know how to explain it. We got Double Kawi. This guy is the best. This guy has he polarizes a lot of matchups. While he's not very good into, say, Amataz or Kuon, he's very good into pretty much like everything else in the field. In the mirror, he's able to snipe things like Gensetsu. Against Dragon, he's able to clear Galmu or, make our opponent's life very difficult. I played a Hunter player who did turn this into an amulet, and then I had basically a 2-mana heal myself for whatever my opponent's strongest card is. And then I've noticed a lot of people did trade into this incorrectly. I think they assessed the deck wrong, and they definitely. My hand was very poor, and then the way that they traded allowed me to heal more than I should have off this, and like allowed me to also then trade into their board. So I'm actually not 100% certain if this is the greatest card, because of like the way, but it definitely does polarize your matchups. So I really did like this inclusion actually. So this was definitely some nice spice. We've got triple Gensetsu, on play. We're going to get the 5 one-tailed foxes in our EX area, and then on evolve, all of our yokais are going to cost 2 less, and then we're going to get buffed every time. We got 3 of her in the Evo deck there. Boom. We're going to get buffed every time a yokai leaves the board. This is our big, like turn 6 or 7. We put this up. We hopefully stop our opponent from playing. And then this is very difficult to deal with, and then hopefully we can bring this back or play a second one, and then overwhelm our opponent turn after turn. I did not see this card that often, mostly due to a lack of draw, and the fact this is not a card you would keep in your mulligan. So sometimes, like, right, I'd have a one of the hands I think I saw was double Gensetsu, Death's Breath, Roll Nigh in my opener, and I was like, well, we can't keep this hand because we're gonna die. So because of that, it's a little bit less consistent. You only have like your 4 plus however many it is, and there's no search. There's not a ton of draw, so really inconsistent if you see this card or not. When you do see Gensetsu, the deck is very strong. When you don't, the deck is pretty much not. That's kind of how I felt. But definitely one of the strongest cards Abyss has. We've got triple Yuzuki. I am not the biggest fan of this card. It has on play, Necrocharge 10. Our opponent kills 2 cards. Without that, they're just gonna kill 1. This is our out into the Control Haven matchups. That part is very nice. And she also has Accelerate 3, so we basically are going to play 3 mana. We basically play her as a spell, we discard her, and then we deal 5 damage. I don't actually know if this counts as a spell. I don't know if this works like Accelerate, but we deal 5 damage to an enemy follower, and then we bury the top card of our deck. I don't know if 5 comes up that often outside of specifically Spinaria. And the mill this is the only card in our entire deck that mills, so we get 1 extra card. I don't think we're all in on enough packages for this thing, and the three has been a little rough. Because you're usually giving like 5, we've got this thing and we got some other stuff going on. But 3, I always felt like I wanted 4. I felt like I was always getting overwhelmed on 4 and not on 5. Like on 5, this did not do enough for me. And then also, like I said, decks are like pretty resilient to a lot of runes removal, which means that they go wider instead of taller usually. So this card, outside of the specifically Control Haven, which there was a couple. I mean, deck's pretty good. Float's pretty broken. Yeah, I'm still not 100% sure if I'm sold on this card. Also, this card is heavy. It's just heavy. That's like more of my problem. We've got triple Death's Breath. This one is... That's why I think we need more mill. Your targets are good sometimes, and when they're not, they're not. This card, gives a big card ward. Hopefully it's Israfil, but Israfil, you gotta have this, or you gotta mill it off the 1. I was feeling it a lot this weekend. I'm sorry if I'm negative. I was feeling it a lot. You can open really good with this, and you can open really bad. And it really does depend on the matchup. Some of the games went very long, and then some of the games I just died very quickly. So, yeah, triple Israfil. Israfil is very broken. 8 mana, we're going to heal 4. On strike, we're going to AoE the board for 3. And then when we evolve her, it's going to be for 5. This card has cleaned up multiple times. It won me. It by itself won me 1 game. That was like anything meaningful. So yeah, it definitely, but like it was very heavy almost every game. I think I drew this all but 1 game. So in 6 rounds, because I had a bye. I drew 2 copies of this 5 times. And I had to hard cast it every time. Or I died with it in my hand. So yeah, it never was in the grave outside of the feature match where I did this, and then I didn't see this card. So, you know, it is what it is. That's the deck. I don't regret playing it because I ultimately, like I said, I was undecided this format. I do think that the Israfil variant is a little slow, and maybe I'm going to try to do something different with these, like, hand rip cards. But yeah, ended with a 3-3 record. I'll kind of go over the match by match now, and, you know, hopefully you guys enjoy this part, because I'm going to be shouting out quite a few of my opponents, and, you know. So here is, you know, my record. We get to see the spiral out of control, especially with the losing the hope in the last 2 rounds. It's a little sad, but don't worry, I was feeling the cracks before then. So, you know, round 2, that was the feature match. We saw that it was against Ramp Dragon. I got to go second, which is both nice for multiple reasons. One is because he was on Oracle. That's like a hard -1, where then your hand size diminishes a little bit, and then Galmute needs multiple cards, which he didn't even see the Galmute. That's like the worst part. But we're able to definitely, you know, I was able to see like the hand rip cards multiple turns in a row. So he like ramps, I hand rip, I hand rip, I hand rip. And he's just quickly on a 0-card hand. And from there on, it's like I also had like a lot of good bodies throughout the game, where I saw a lot of the low-cost followers like the Demoniums, the Bell Ringers, the Soul Conversions. Basically, I just got to overwhelm him with value while also making him discard all of his cards. That matchup was the matchups that sometimes happen in testing where you go, damn, this is the best deck. And, you know, ultimately that was one of my best games of the day. It was definitely one of the ones where I felt, you know, the power of the deck and what it could do. Round 3, I fought against Jacob. I believe Jacob top 16 this event. Once again, congratulations to him. He was on Aggro Abyss, and he gave me the fastest game I have ever had. My opening hand was... I was going second, and my opening hand was Maruzensky, Roll-Nigh, Kawi, Death's Breath. It sounds bad, but it's kind of like what the deck does. He goes turn 1 Maid Leader, I draw, and then he goes... sorry, the Servant of Lust, whatever. The Maid, not Maid Leader. The one that pings on play and on attack. And then he hits it up with I draw. It's not a 1-drop removal spell. I mean, there's only Bellringer and the Wings of Lust, so, you know, not expected. But then he follows it up with a turn 2 Valnarek, so I'm already at 14 health on turn 2. Then I draw Surefire. I'm like, okay, well, I get to Surefire the Valnarek. Maybe we're fine. Follows it up with an Aragave. That's right. So now we're taking another 5 damage, because Aragave is going to be burning us for 3. I'm at 9 health, and then I get to play down Maruzensky. Evo, -2, once again. 3 health, not very good. Into killing the little maid. And then he goes double Ambling Wraith, Razory Claw, Aragave Swing. That's 10 damage, so I died before I hit 4 mana. It was his turn 4. Fastest game I think I've ever had, but, you know, it is what it is. I mean, I can't expect too much. He played out 7 of his 8 cards. It's pretty broken. Next up is round 4, and I apologize between Panda Z and Daniel Forslund. I do not remember what order I played these games in. That's my bad. I'm pretty sure Panda Z was on Abyss and was on Hand Control. I think. One of these was Abyss, Hand Control, the other one was Egg. I'm just going to say that the Abyss one was first. Once again, apologies if I am wrong about that. So the hand control mirror was, he had a lot more hand control than I did. Once again, when we looked at the deck here, boom, another problem I had a little bit was we didn't have, the call we used to be Dow, and we didn't have Crazed Executioner, which was honestly something that the more I've, especially when I played into Rune, I was like, I don't know how you're supposed to beat Rune with like random discards, because the random discards in the early game just fuel their spell chain, and in the late game they have a 7-card hand, so it's hard to hit the good cards. And there's not really enough of it. There's only 9 cards total, and it's like we're not drawing a lot, so we see 2, maybe 3 hand rips throughout an entire game. Well, he saw like 5 hand rips throughout the entire game. He ripped apart my hand, but my saving grace into the Abyss matchup was, I played down 2 Kawi's, and I think he misevaluated like how to handle the board. Like there was like the plays he made to answer the Kawi were not super optimal, and I felt like he could have been in a better position had he traded differently. But yeah, definitely that was the big thing there. And then he ripped apart my entire hand. I had Marzensky'd earlier to make a Gensetsu. By the way, it was the only game I think I got Necrocharge 10 because he discarded 5 cards out of my hand. And the Marzensky's only target that was good was Gensetsu, which is like super messed up because it's a 1/9 that always deals at least 1 damage, even at 0/9, 0/5. And on top of that, when the Foxes leave play, even if it, because it's 1/9 base, it just starts ticking up again. So the Marzensky removed an entire 1 damage from my opponent's board, but he played down his entire hand, ripped my entire hand, Dark Angel Olivia'd, and then I top decked Israfil on like turn 10 and managed to actually clean up from there because it was kind of grindy game. I did see Gensetsu this game. I think it was like one of the only games I actually drew her. So yeah, that was it was a rough one. I'm sorry for sacking you in the Abyss Mirror because that was a sack. It was, I don't think I deserved to win that game. There was 3 hits in my deck that were playable, and I managed to find one of them. So yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what to say. I'm so sorry about that. So now, assuming that this one is the egg matchup was once again me feeling the cracks of my deck, but maybe it also felt like it was both my day because my opponent's, my deck was showing its curve, but my opponent's deck was showing, I don't know, like that they were unlucky. The poor egg matchup against Daniel was, he Aliced on 3, it was like Pinion, Tea Time, and then he Aliced on 4, or he Tea Timed on 4. I forget. I just know that he Aliced 3 times, saw 0 Tin Soldiers, and then he played down Athena. I think he bomb decked all 3 of them. And I just had, my hand was like double or triple Death's Breath and double Kawi, because that's the hands that this deck gives me. And so I just kept putting down Kawi, which makes it really awkward for him, because if he goes Egg plus Andromeda at any point, I get to heal up. So he's incentivized to just Egg raw, which is horrendously bad. It means that then I don't have to do anything. Like, right, it's like he just blows up his board. And the only thing I'm really afraid of is the Tin Soldier. So I think I played on Kawi like 4 times that game. All while waiting for a card, because I had like 15 cards in grave, and I had not seen a Gensetsu, and I had not seen a Death's Breath. I just sat there with my hand rip against my opponent's 0-card hand, and then I just kept putting down Kawi's, and then he would like blow up my board with an explosion, or there was one time he did definitely mess up. He Pinion Princed into it. I don't know if that was ideal. I don't know if there was any other way to do it, but like it let me heal 5, and then from there I definitely had like a little bit of a like, I felt comfortable even as the game was going on, especially because he kept whiffing the Tin Soldier. Like, I think the only way he got a Tin Soldier in rotation was he Alice T-timed 4 Tin Soldier to Evo Dumpty to then play Pinion Prince. I'm like, it was a really rough game for him. It was a really rough game for him. And then I finally saw Gensetsu and then managed to seal the game. And, I definitely don't feel like I deserved that one either, but it is the game that we play. Sorry. But don't worry, I got my comeuppance, because next round was against Daniel Sand 2.0. He was my opponent in the top 8 of Chicago. He was on Elephant back then, and nice seeing him again. This time he definitely cooked up some spice. He was on Disdained Dragon with, I see Disdained Dragon. I'm thinking, round 1 went pretty good for me. We got these slow-ass hand rip cards. That's all we really need against Disdain. It's not the fastest deck. Oh, no, it was fast. It was fast. He went turn 1 Feline, going first. I was like, okay. Looking at my hand of just garbage. I'm like, oh no, I'm in danger. I think my hand was like Yuzuki, Marzensky. It was like something where like every card in my hand costs 3 because like look at this curve. I mean, it can happen. 3 or higher, right? And then he goes turn 2 Fina add Goblin, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm dying. And then he goes turn 3 Fina add Bellringer, play Goblin, and then his turn 4 was the Dragon guy that evos and ignores Ward, plus Bellringer Angel, and it's like my Marzensky is struggling to do anything. I think he might have played the Bellringer before then, because I just remember that my Marzensky was unable to like navigate the board because of a Bellringer on his board. And then this Goblin was smacking me. So I think, yeah, the Goblin came down on 3. And then I don't think I had the Marzensky until like 4 or 5 or something. And I was just getting smacked down. The Bellringer made it impossible. His board made it impossible to do anything. Definitely a super fast game. Then he had the Galmu follow-up as well. Definitely unique. And, you know, nice to see him again. I hope he did. I don't actually know if he topped. But I assume he topped 32. He's a good player. And actually, if you know, given the bracket we were in, yeah, that means he was almost guaranteed to. And then round 7, I fought Dom Kensi. This one was a little unfortunate for me because he couldn't top, but I could. But yeah, look at this deck. He was on Hunter Forest, and let's see what we did. What was my opener? I remember this game was the worst game I think I had. It was as far as like the way my curve played out. It still ended up going to like turn 11, I think, though. Which is surprising. It makes me wonder how much that mattered. But I think it was ultimately because of the deck I was against somewhat, maybe? I don't know. I opened Gensetsu. This was the, yeah, Gensetsu, Death's Breath, Roll-Nai. That was the opener. So I mulliganed into Kawi, Death's Breath, Israfil, I believe, was the hand. Or it might have been Yuzuki. I think it was Yuzuki. Actually, I have a picture. Let me look at that real quick. I was so shocked at my opening hand because I was like, "Oh man, if I win this game, I get top cut." But something tells me I'm not getting top cut because, I mean, we've heard the tournament report up to now, right? It's like the deck. I feel like I've been sacking people. I legitimately feel bad for my opponents after I win the game, because you know often it's like a 0 card hand, or it's like the game is just going on so long, and they just need a little bit to go right to defeat me. Oh my god. I'm leaving this in the video. This is time. Has image. Ah, yes. It was Yuzuki. It was Kawi, Death's Breath, Yuzuki. Yuzuki milled. The Yuzuki, I think, was the first card I played, and it milled this, and I had no place for 4, so that was pretty sick. I played down Kawi. He Izudiated it. I went sick. This is my most busted amulet. And then I drew a soul conversion, and I think I drew an Israfil for turn at some point. And then I just remember I Kawi soul convert, double Israfil. So my hand is triple Israfil, Death's Breath. I don't see a Wings of Lust until turns 8 and 9. After I've already Death's Breath I think I've Death's Breath twice, yeah, because I think I Death's Breath a Kawi, and then I Death's Breath a Yuzuki. And I never saw a Gensetsu. But yeah, I do the thing. I soul convert the Kawi on 6. I kill his Azudia. He did not have the Evo. And then he hits me with a 9/9 Elephant. I get hit to 4. Thankfully, I have my amulet. I pop it. I heal. And then he Lamaga summons Dolorblade Demon. I'm like, okay. Managed to deal with it. I forget like what the actual cards were that dealt with the Lamaga Dolorblade Demon. And then he goes, I think it was Israfil. I think it was Israfil popped the board. And then he goes Lamaga again. Summons 2 Dolorblade Demons. So I got hit with 3 Dolorblade Demons in one game. That's when I Death's Breath the Yuzuki, because it's my only ward. But my Yuzuki takes 2 damage, because it's... What the hell is this board my opponent has? Yuzuki dies. And then I think I Death's Breath the Israfil. on whatever his next board was, because he summoned some cards, and then I hit his board again, pop it, and then he goes like, mark of unkilling the sniper. He shits out 5 dudes and board locks himself on 10 damage. I have 10 health. Well, don't worry, I've got 3 Israfils in hand. I'm good to go. So I play down Israfil, I play down Pneumonium, board lock him. Okay, I take 10, I go down to 4. I manage to clear his board, hand rip him down to 1 card. I have Demonium plus Israfil plus Bellringer. Well, the Israfil's not warded because it wasn't Death Breath. We had to Death Breath something else early. We had to Death Breath the Yuzuki. That's what it was. So I have Demonium, Bellringer, 1 card hand from him, and then he top decks Lamaga into the Matriarch into Lethal. That was the end of the run. Yeah, ultimately, was fun coming out there, though. I didn't really expect to top. It was a little unfortunate I went from 4-1 to 4-3, but, you know, I think I deserved it. I think this deck wasn't the best. But don't worry, I will be bringing good decks to the next tournaments, and hopefully I'll see you guys there. Also, shout-outs to the nice people I got to meet throughout the tournament. Nice seeing BMA, obviously. Big shout-out to, Bushiroad for letting me go out on stream. I did enjoy that. And then just all the different people I got to see, that we met multiple times throughout the tournament. And hopefully I get to see you guys again, because I will be going to a lot of the tournaments throughout the circuit. Plan to go to Philadelphia next, and then we'll just see from there. But or I think it's Georgia next. But until then, this is your boy Dean signing out. See you guys then.